Hari Om children. India's Independence Day is coming on August 15th. So today we will explain what true independence is. In the last session of Adiguru Shankaracharya ji, we learned that Shankaracharya ji decided to pervade into the body of a lifeless king through the power of yoga and learn about Kama Shastra in order to answer Udaya Bharati's questions. Most did not know the secret of the king's revival. His wise ministers thought, the way the king has transformed the entire kingdom in a few days, his fame is spreading far and wide. Kings and ascetic yogis from all over are coming to meet him. Even kings from neighboring states are giving an example of our political system. This change has happened only after his revival. There is some mystery in it. Although it is good for the state, this mystery must be revealed. Therefore, the ministers invited many Siddha yogis in the pretext of meeting the king. One day, a knowledgeable yogi who had knowledge of soul as well reached the king's court. The king greeted the yogi. He was an experienced yogi, and within a moment, he recognized that this was not the real King Amaruk, but someone else had entered his body through the power of yoga. The minister standing there sensed the surprise on the yogi's face. Then, as soon as the yogi came out after meeting the king, the ministers followed him and went to a private place to learn about the king. Then, the yogi said, the soul of the real King Amaruk is not present in the body of this king, but rather a Mahatma has entered into the body of the king. And it is not an ordinary soul. I feel that it is the soul of some great incarnate man who has entered this body for the welfare of your kingdom. And that is why this kingdom has gained so much prosperity and is flourishing. Sant Kabir Das says that a river, a tree, suns, and the fourth, a rain-bearing cloud. All four have taken birth for charity and benevolence. Let's start today's Bal Sanskar session by remembering Pujya Gurudev.
Now all children will hum Omkar. Hari Now, children, we will do Tratak. Tratak increases our concentration and memory power. Now it's time for the story. The secret of the king's resurrection. When the yogi told the ministers the secret of the king's resurrection, the ministers said, "Maharaj, we already doubted. Now we are fully convinced. But what should we do now? Provide us clear instructions about our duty." The yogi said, "My simple wish is, this soul may always remain in the body of the king, always for the benefit of the people. If you wish the same, then ensure that this noble soul shall never leave the king's body to return upon its real body. Search the entire kingdom. If you come across a yogi in a state of sleep, deep meditation, check if he is pulsating. If his body appears lifeless, then it is the real body of the noble soul. Take immediate action to destroy it by cremation. If you succeed, the virtuous soul will be bound to reside in the king's body forever." The yogi left afterwards. The wise ministers thought that the possibility of finding such a yogi was more in a deserted place, a forest, or a cave. They immediately put their best soldiers of the state on the search mission. Here Shankaracharya's disciples became worried. They said to each other, "Brother, it's been many days that Gurudev did not return to his real body. We are afraid that something wrong might happen. Shall we reach out to Gurudev and remind him that we as well are under his refuge?" Thinking thus, disciple Padmapad set out to search for his Gurudev with fellow disciples. While searching, they reached a city where there was happiness, peace, and prosperity. The people were talking about their king coming back to life after dying. They realized that it was the capital of King Ambruk's kingdom. The three disciples reached the entrance of the king's palace. Believing that our Gurudev lives in this palace, they bowed before the palace door and began to enter. But the gatekeeper stopped them and said, "O saints, your alms have been arranged here." The disciple said, "Brother, we haven't come to take alms. We have come from far away to meet the king." "I'm sorry," said the gatekeeper. "We have strict orders to prevent anyone from entering due to the life-threatening possibility of the king. Please have the alms from here and leave." Downheartedly, the disciples returned from the door. Padmapad said, "Brothers, now look how tight security is. The gatekeeper did not let us in. The ministers may have come to know the secret of the king's revival. So now the real body of our Gurudev is in danger. We should find a solution immediately." After noticing that the group of singers entered a palace without being stopped by the gatekeepers, they recalled that their Gurudev had a keen interest in spiritual singing and recitation of verses. So they changed their appearance and joined the group. Carrying the mridangam cymbals, they entered the palace, singing the kirtan, and made their way to the court. Shortly after, King Amaruk entered the court with his female courtiers, and like Indra's entrance in the heavens with apsaras. Upon the king's arrival, welcoming songs from the other groups commenced. Subsequently, each group took turns singing Bhakti Vedanta verses in front of the king, who enjoyed the performances while seated on a throne. Then the turn came of those three disciples, and the king said, "Ah, you all, our scholar singers, are welcome to the assembly. Please introduce yourself." Hearing this, the disciples panicked. "We expected Gurudev to recognize us upon seeing us, but the opposite is happening. How can we make him realize that we are his disciples and have come to request him to return to his real body?" The disciples stared at each other. The king said again, "O sages, introduce yourself. What are you going to sing for me today?" The disciples thought Gurudev had asked this because they were in the guise of singers. Padmapad said, "Maharaj, we have come to seek your refuge, to know your true identity." Saying this, the intelligent disciples sang the same praises they used to sing in front of their Gurudev thrice a day. The king was pleased to hear their praises and awarded gifts along with the book of Kamalaka, which he had composed to answer the questions of Ubhayabharti. Then he bade the singers farewell with some gestures. The three disciples returned to the cave, and all the disciples were reassured that Gurudev would soon return to his real body. Now, what happens next? We will know the story of the next session. Jai Satgurudev Bhagwan Ki Jai.
Quiz Competition. Now's the turn of the knowledge and science competition. You will be asked a question and there will be 4 options to choose from. You will need to give the right answer in 10 seconds. The question is, in which Ved can we find the knowledge of medicine, Ayurveda, and mysterious sciences? The options are A. Rigved, B. Yajurved, C. Samved, D. Atharvaved. The correct answer to the question will be revealed at the end of the session.
Questionnaire. True freedom. What does true freedom really mean? Pujya Leela Shaji Bapu says, our country became independent on 15th of August 1947, but that doesn't mean we can do whatever we want. Abroad, there's an open freedom to behave as one pleases. But with such indulgences, what destruction is befalling the people there? Dignity, ethics, religion, and character are all being ruined. They have degraded themselves to the level of animals sometimes, worse than animals sometimes. Can you call this freedom? No. It is not freedom but a great calamity. True freedom is liberation from the slavery of our mind and senses. Being enslaved to the senses and acting according to their whims is not freedom, it's servitude. Even animals act on their impulses. Where is the humanity in that? When you exercise control over your mind, act in accordance with the guidance of parents, teachers, and scriptures. Only then you're free. Conversely, if you follow the dictates of your mind, you become its slave. Even if you proclaim yourself free, you're actually a great slave. Hence, my brothers, freedom does not mean indulgence. The martyrs shed their blood so that you could achieve independence to work on your own, society's and the nation's welfare. Utilize freedom wisely, only then you and your country will remain truly free. Otherwise, due to mental bondage, anyone can turn you into their slave and destroy your vigor and vitality. Health tip. The glory of Magha constellation's water. During the monsoon season, the Magha constellation,
And this year it will be from 16th August at 7:53 p.m. to 30th August at 3:55 p.m.
It is said about the Magha constellation, just as a child's stomach is filled by their mother, similarly the rain of the Magha constellation quenches the thirst of Mother Earth. During the days of the Magha constellation, collect as much rainwater as possible in tanks. Place copper, brass, bronze, or steel vessels on an open field or roof in such a way that the rainwater directly fills them. Reverend Babaji states this water is considered equivalent to gold in its properties and as pure as the water of the Ganga river. Keep this water for a year even, and it never goes bad and insects do not infest it. This water can be used for consecration ceremonies, washing eyes with it improves eyesight, drinking it relieves stomach pain, intestinal worms and other ailments. Taking Ayurvedic medicines with this water enhances their benefits. Cooking food with this water makes it nutritious and delicious. Revered Guruji has advised that everyone should make use of the water from the Magha constellation and also share the glory of Magha constellation's water with others.
Questionnaire. Get ready for the questionnaire. Why did the ministers suspect the king? What did the ministers do when they suspected the king? What duty did the Siddha Yogi give to the ministers? How did Shankaracharyaji's disciples come to know of Gurudev's true location? What measures did the disciples take to meet the king? What should be done to get protection from dangerous diseases? What lesson do we learn from today's story? Narayan, 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 Narayan. With this, today's Sanskar Kendra concludes. We will meet again next week with a new knowledge-enhancing topic. Until then, Hari Om. The correct answer to the question is Atharvaved. From the 4 holy Vedas in the Sanatandharma, the 4th Ved is the Atharvaved, in which, along with the glories of the Devtas, there is knowledge about medicine, Ayurveda, and the mysterious sciences.